Hello teachers and anyone else watching. This is my app called My Worksheets, and this app will allow you to create worksheets very easily and conveniently. So right now we're looking at the template worksheet, and this shows you an example of all the different type of content that you can create with the app. So we've got a title, we've got some notes, we've got unscramble the sentences, we have fill in the blanks, we have multiple choice questions, we have matching, cloze test, and so on. As it says here, you can hover over any exercise block to view more options. So if I do this here, I can see 5 buttons appear on this side of the exercise block. The first button is the edit button, so this allows me to make changes to my content. The second button is the delete button, so I can remove some exercise block I don't want. Then I also have control over the ordering of the exercises. So for example, if I want this unscramble exercise to appear after the fill in the blanks rather than before, then I can use the arrow to move that around. Okay, and the last option concerns the lettering. So right now we can see we have A for the unscramble exercise and B for the fill in the blanks exercise. But if I don't want to include this in the lettering, then I can just press this button here. Okay, so those are the general functions for this interface. And now let me show you on the top right hand corner of the screen these options. So first of all, we have a print option. If I press this one, I get the usual print dialog, and I can look at a preview of my worksheet. And if you're on a Mac, you have the option to save your worksheet as a PDF, which is quite nice. Okay, if I want to edit this further by hand for some reason, I can also copy this to the clipboard. So right now I've copied my worksheet to the clipboard, and then I can go ahead and make some further changes in some kind of a word processor or text editing program. So I'll show you, for example, on Google Docs. Right now I have my worksheet copied, so I just paste it in, and we see the worksheet appear here. And everything is looking pretty good. If there's something you don't like about how the formatting turned out, you can also just change that much more easily here. So for example, I probably want this question to appear just above the space where the student will write the answer. So I'm going to add one more line here, and that takes care of that. And of course, if you want to further customize this, you want to change the font or the size, or the text size or the colors, add images and whatever, you can of course do that here. Alright, now the next option, this is something really useful for teachers. Right now we're looking at the student's view of the worksheet, so we see the questions. But if you press this button here, this will give you an answer key instantly. So I press the button, and we can see this has changed to answer key view. So right now, instead of the question, I'm looking at the answers. And this is really convenient because you don't need to fill out the worksheet by yourself in order to create an answer key this way. You can see all the answers are kind of embedded in the questions now. Alright, and the last option we got here is the option to create a new exercise. So for that, I'm going to make a new worksheet in order to show you. So we can go up to this menu here, and we'll hit create new worksheet. Okay, great. So now I press the plus option, or the plus button to create a new exercise. And this menu shows you kind of a preview of what each exercise type looks like. So we've got a whole range of things that you can create. For this example, let's try something fairly simple. So how about we'll do a cloze test. Cool, so now this is the editing interface, and basically, you just need to follow the instructions on this screen in order to make sure that your content turns out properly. So this part on the top is the instruction that the student will see on the page. So on the worksheet, they will see, read the passage and choose the correct answers. You can change that. You can also choose not to show that if you don't need to. Okay, and now this part here is where we will type up our closed test. So we just need to follow these instructions. It says, please type the passage you wish to use in the text area. Enclose each word you want removed in square brackets, separated by slashes for each possible choice, like this. The first option must be the correct answer. Use a maximum of 4 possible choices. Okay, so that sounds a bit complicated, but the good thing is you have an example here. So this sentence is saying, cats typically have 2 ears. The correct answer is 2, so we put 2 as the first option here. So let's try something simple. How about we'll do humans this time. Humans have, the correct answer is 10 fingers, so I'll put 10 first. And the other ones, I'm just making up some other random options. Okay. Great. Okay. And now let's add one more. So how about humans have, we'll say 2 ears. So I'm putting 2 as the first option. Okay. 4, 7. Cool. Ears. All right, great. So now I have followed the instructions, so this should work out great. So I'll press save. Okay. And I'll close this. All right, now we can see our closed test here. Let's take a look at the answer key just to make sure everything's correct. So I press here. Cool. And it says humans have 10 fingers, humans have 2 ears. B10, B2. Great. So that worked out perfectly. One thing to note is right now it says BB, right? But if I edit this further, like for example, if I add something else here, all humans, something like that, I might not have the same order of answers or the same, the same letter for the answer. So let me show you here. Before it was B, right? If I do save now and close that, right now it's showing D, D. So the reason this happens is because this will randomize the order of the answers for you every time. You should just keep this in mind because if you're making your answer key, you always want to save that as the very last step because you don't want to end up changing something for the questions and then having an answer key that doesn't correspond to it. So just as a general practice, you should always create the answer key at the very end. Alright, so cool. This is working out. Everything looks good. And if I'm happy with my worksheet, I can just go ahead and save that to the hard disk as well. So in this menu here, we have this option to save the worksheet. And I'll give it a name here. So I'll say My Worksheet. Oh, and I already had one. That's okay. We'll replace it. Cool. All right. So now I have saved the worksheet. And one important thing to note is that this format, when you save, it's not a text format. So for example, you can't open up your worksheet in Microsoft Word or something with the format. But you can open it up with this app, My Worksheets, in order to continue working on it or to make changes or what have you. So I can do that here. I can just load it up and perfect. Now my worksheet is loaded up. I still have all the options available to me from before, such as creating an answer key, and everything is good. So that's a general overview of My Worksheets. I hope the app is useful to you, and I would love to hear any of your comments or suggestions for the app if you have anything to say about it. thank you for listening and watching, and I hope everyone enjoys the app.